light burn the eyes of those souls in the dark? Is that where they tried to extinguish your spark? Because one little light doesn't pose any threat unless you're the darkness that bans lanterns lit. Shine on, little light, too bright for sorrow. Shine on, little light, remind us we're bright lights too. Shine on with the light redefining tomorrow. We mold in our strengthening hands, demanding the future is not only man's. Shine on, little light, delight in your wonder. Shine on to the old walls asunder fall. Crack the night with the light that prefaces thunder. Abandon illiterate fears, and luminous wisdom appears. Shine on, little light, shine on. When evil bred hatred with malice, the offspring was anger and fear. Steeped and reared in shrouded oblivion, prisons of atrophied vision endeared, and their heirs flock back to their boxes, detained without locks in ancestral toxins and windowless keeps of deceit. They cower in fear of a wife or a daughter ascending with light all around her, discovering knowledge's power. Shine on, little light, too bright for sorrow. Shine on, little light, remind us we're bright lights too. Shine on with the light redefining tomorrow. We mold in our strengthening hands, demanding the future is not only man's. Shine on, little light, delight in your wonder. Shine on, little light, asunder falls. Crack the night with the light that prefaces thunder. Abandon illiterate fears, and luminous wisdom appears. Shine on, little light, shine on. In defending the right to its blindness, it perceives deprivation of sight as a kindness, and freedom enlightenment brings is blight in the minds of the fearful of sight. So the dark reaping darkness, and darkness delivered its deadliest sting. Oh, but the thing that extinguishes most fires only stoked your desire to see. Now annealed in the darkest of hours, you've healed and defeated the cowards. Shine on, little light, too bright for sorrow. Shine on, little light, remind us we're bright lights too. Shine on with the light, redefining tomorrow. We mold in our strengthening hands, demanding the future is not only man's. Shine on, little light, delight in your wonder. Shine on to the old walls asunder fall. Crack the night with the light that prefaces thunder. Abandon illiterate fears, and luminous wisdom appears. Shine on, little light, shine on. Just one little girl looking for something, opened a book and revealed the one thing tyranny fears. Did your light burn the eyes of those souls in the dark? Is that why they tried to extinguish your spark? Because one little light doesn't pose any threat unless you're the darkness that bans lanterns lit. Shine on, little light, too bright for sorrow. Shine on, little light, remind us we're bright lights too. Shine on with the light redefining tomorrow. We mold in our strengthening hands, demanding the future is not only man's. Shine on, little light, delight in your wonder. Shine on to the old walls asunder fall. Crack the night with the light that prefaces thunder. Abandon illiterate fears, and luminous wisdom appears. Shine on, little light, shine on, little light, shine on, little light, shine on. Thank you.
I'm not a musician, and I cannot claim to find my fingerprints on much in the musical world, except for when Sean sets one of my prayers of confession to music, or when he and I play fast and loose with someone else's lyrics. But this song that David just sang may be a byproduct of a sermon that I delivered a few years ago. David and I have a mutual friend, Tim Pyland. Tim writes plays, and one sleepless weekend, Tim stayed up all night listening to my sermons and heard one in which I talked at length about my hero, Malala Yousafzai. And Tim decided to write a play about Malala and then turned to David and asked him to write the music for the play. And I know that's where Shine On came from, but I don't know if the play ever got written.
Last I heard, it was in Brian Turnage's lap, and it's kind of not on the front burner.
It's in the ether somewhere, but it produced an excellent piece of music, I would say, whether it ever ends up on stage. But if it does, I want an honorary mention in the footnote somewhere. Malala is now a refugee from Pakistan, where she was shot in the head. She lives sometimes in the UK, sometimes in the USA. There are now over 5 million refugees who fled the civil war in Syria, one of whom will be our keynote speaker this summer in August. But not all refugees are fleeing from war. Not all refugees are fleeing from terrorists or even a threat of death. Some are trying to escape insanity in order to breathe freely, to give their children a chance to receive an education, to have a decent life. One of those refugees is a listener of ours. His name is Mikhail Lipansky. He is a Russian-born Jew who is an instructor of comparative literature at Queens College in New York. He wrote an essay about his family that I'd like to share with you. You'll have to imagine the accent. I won't insult Mikhail by trying to read it the way he would sound. No, we did not come from a war-torn country. No, we did not escape bomb threats and militants, but we are refugees. We came seeking shelter and opportunity to the land that was the epitome of both. I should not need to exonerate my status by debating the conditions of pre- and post-perestroika Ukraine. We knew well enough who we were. It said so in our passports, on our birth certificates, and let's be honest, on our faces. When in the 3rd grade, I was accosted by a bully 7 years my senior who came up to me as I was on duty in the halls of our school. I was not surprised, not by the attack, not by him shouting, "Save Russia, kill the Jews." He yelled that just before he punched me in the stomach. That was expected. It had happened before. Whether physical or mental, discrimination was ubiquitous, whether it was in schools or at work, in colleges or in the army. It was not our religion we were despised for. It was not even our blood. It was simply our otherness that was so easily scapegoated. We were the enemy within, a target for those who could not understand why their lives were so terrible. There was an old Soviet joke. Truckload of bread was promised to be delivered to a store. By 6 a.m., there was a line of people waiting patiently for bread. At noon, the director of the market came out and announced that the truck would be late and that the shipment would be smaller than originally promised. No Jews would be allowed to buy bread. By 6 p.m., there was still no bread, and the director once again came out to make his announcement. The truck will be later still, and the shipment even smaller. Only veterans of World War II will be allowed to buy the bread. At midnight, the director finally announced, "There will be no bread today." The grumbling crowd dispersed, and one person could be heard telling another, "Did you see? Again, the Jews lucked out. They didn't have to wait." And so we came here. Not so fast. Let's take a step back. Came here how? Refugee vetting is no simple matter, extreme or not. First, one must gather all the documents in several copies with English translations. Oh, that's the easy part, right? Do you think the clerk didn't know why you wanted the copies? Do you think they didn't hate you for getting out? Surely they did. And you needed them to like you, to be your friend. Thus you begin to sell things, books first, then heirlooms, then whatever was left, to the last penny. And you lie a lot, at school, at work, at home, even to your friends, because who knows? What if you don't get the status? What then? A year and a half later, after an interview in Moscow, after bowing and scraping, after multiple boxes of chocolate and cognac, with envelopes filled with gratitude to every clerk that had to stamp a copy or print some basic document, you were finally granted the magical status of a refugee. You're now free to gather your bags. No, sorry, your bag. Only one per person. That's it. Basta. Put your life in that suitcase, but leave room for a pillow and a blanket, because those, we're told, are very expensive in America. Tell your children that they can have one stuffed toy to bring, maybe two, maybe a few plastic soldiers. Then you sell everything that's left, everything you can. Perhaps you'll gather enough for a month's rent in that magical country that you're hoping to get to. You sell your apartment, too, for a sliver of what it's worth, to a man who makes sure that you understand that he's doing you a huge favor. He takes all the risk, such a martyr, of buying an apartment from a traitor, and you get yourself to Moscow. The last goodbyes from friends and relatives, the last humiliation, too, as the border agents take anything they can from your already pilfered possessions. They tell your children that the toy in their hands does not fit into the suitcase and will not be allowed through. Too bad. And then, only then, do you board the plane to freedom. I cannot imagine the terror in the hearts of those refugees who were turned back. Stop. That's not true. Yes, I can. I can imagine, because I'm not afraid of empathy. I'm not afraid to remember the fear and the excitement that America represented to us, to refugees. I will not be sucked into the chaos versus order narrative. I will not buy the false civilization mythology of survival. We're not separate civilizations. They are not the agents of chaos. When the militants destroy ancient artifacts in Iraq, that's not their history being destroyed. It's mine. It's ours. Where would we be without ancient Mesopotamia, without Ur, Babylon, Ashur, and Nineveh? What about the medieval Damascus, the centers of science and literature and law? Our civilization does not depend on their destruction. It never did. Our civilization has moved past the myth of survival. Look around. We're all the same. We're all refugees in this land. We came seeking shelter and opportunity. We came to earn a better life, not to take it. I'm a refugee. I'm an American. I'm a Jew. I'm a Muslim. I'm you.
Thank you for watching our videos. We are entirely dependent on the donations of our listeners and members. We hope that you find this content to be important enough to help us to keep offering these videos to the public at no charge by becoming a regular contributor. Please click on the donate button on our website at www.spfccc.org Thank you for your support of progressive religious programming.